Mammoth Cave is not an internet legend. It is the longest surveyed cave system on Earth, and its walls hold 3 discoveries that rewrite history. First, fossils from more than 70 species of ancient sharks, including massive predators that ruled a tropical sea long before dinosaurs existed. Then, in 1938, 2 researchers sealed themselves underground, cut off from sunlight and every normal signal of time. What happened helped prove your body carries a clock you cannot switch off. But the darkest discovery came from prehistoric Native American miners. They traveled more than 19 miles into total darkness with torches, tools, and no modern equipment. Deep inside, explorers found their footprints and the naturally preserved body of a man crushed beneath a 6-ton slab of limestone. Scientists verified all 3 discoveries. By the end of this video, Mammoth Cave will not look like an empty maze of tunnels. It will look like an underground archive of monsters, human endurance, and death. Which sounds most impossible? The ancient sharks, the experiment without time, or the miners who entered the darkness thousands of years ago? Subscribe and let's enter the cave. Mammoth Cave begins beneath the wooded hills of western Kentucky. But its true scale is almost impossible to grasp. More than 426 miles of passages have been surveyed, making it the longest cave system on Earth. Yet the discovery that changed everything was not lying on the cave floor. It was locked inside the walls. Those walls began forming more than 330 million years ago, when Kentucky sat beneath a warm tropical sea. Reefs covered the seafloor. Crinoids and shellfish filled the water, and predators hunted above them. Over millions of years, marine sediment hardened into limestone. Then acidic groundwater carved tunnels through that buried seafloor, exposing an ecosystem older than the dinosaurs. The sharks did not swim into Mammoth Cave. The cave opened a window into their world. For years, researchers found scattered teeth and fragments in the limestone. Then, in November 2019, the National Park Service launched a systematic fossil survey. Paleontologists and cave specialists entered remote passages to document what the rock had preserved. What they found stunned them. Evidence of more than 70 species of sharks and their relatives. Teeth built for slicing, crushing, scraping, and trapping prey. There were bottom feeders, spiral-toothed species, and enormous hunters that once dominated the sea. Then they found a jaw. Embedded in the limestone was the lower jaw of Saivodus striatus. It measured 2.5 feet long. Scientists estimate the shark may have reached between 15 and 28 feet, possibly longer than a great white. Nearby, they found teeth from smaller sharks, an eel-like species, and the spine of another predator. But the arrangement revealed something darker. Scientists believe the giant shark sank to the seafloor after death. Then smaller animals tore into the body. The cave wall had preserved a feeding frenzy from hundreds of millions of years ago. Mammoth Cave had become a crime scene from the Carboniferous ocean. And the fossils kept changing history. Remains linked to Kleitman's Forum pushed that shark lineage back roughly 50 million years. Other fossils preserved jaws, gill structures, and cranial cartilage, body parts that almost never survive because shark skeletons are made mostly of cartilage, not bone. So why did Mammoth Cave preserve them? The leading explanation is the cave itself. Stable temperatures, limited airflow, no sunlight, and limestone that slowly dissolves, exposing fossils while leaving delicate structures intact. Together, those conditions created a sealed archive of an ancient sea. But the archive is incomplete. Most sharks are still known only from teeth and fragments. Even the enormous Saivodus jaw cannot reveal the animal's exact size. Was it 15 feet long? Or nearly 30? No complete body survives. One fossil pushed a shark lineage back 50 million years. Another forced scientists to create an entirely new genus. Fossils once classified as Helodus were later renamed rotuladens, meaning wheel. Researchers recognized a specialized spiral crushing structure in the jaw. Every discovery reveals something new and exposes how much is still missing. The mystery is no longer whether an ancient ocean once covered Kentucky. The limestone settled that question. The mystery is how much of that vanished world remains trapped inside the stone, waiting for one tooth, one jaw, or one fragment to rewrite history again. Mammoth Cave does not need a living monster hiding in the darkness. Its walls already contain them. Deep inside Mammoth Cave, daylight disappears. The temperature barely changes. Surface noise vanishes. And without a watch, sunrise, or traffic outside, there is almost nothing to tell you whether an hour has passed or an entire night. That is exactly why physiologist Nathaniel Kleitman came here in 1938. At the time, many scientists treated sleep as little more than the body shutting down. Kleitman believed something else. He believed the human body carried its own clock. To prove it, he needed a place where every signal of time could be removed. Mammoth Cave became a laboratory without a morning. Kleitman and his assistant, Bruce Richardson, descended underground and tried to live on a 28-hour day. Longer periods awake. Longer gaps between meals. And bedtime pushed 4 hours later after every artificial day. Supplies still came from the surface. But sunlight, weather, and normal routines were gone. For 32 days, they tracked sleep, body temperature, alertness, and mental performance. The question was simple. Could the human body be forced to accept a completely different clock? Kleitman could stay awake when the experiment demanded. He could eat on schedule. He could go to bed at the assigned time. But his body refused to fully cooperate. His temperature continued rising and falling on a cycle close to 24 hours. And he felt most alert when his artificial daytime happened to match daytime outside, even though he had no way to see it. The cave had removed the sun, but it had not removed the day. That discovery helped establish one of the central ideas in modern sleep science. Your biological rhythms are not created entirely by clocks, work schedules, or daylight. An internal system keeps counting even when the outside world goes silent. The research helped lay the foundation for chronobiology, the study of biological rhythms, and later work on jet lag, night shifts, hormones, body temperature, and sleep disorders. But the most unsettling result was not that the men lost track of time. It was that conscious choice could not fully control the body. You can declare that a day lasts 28 hours. You can reset every clock, move every meal, switch the lights on and off whenever you choose. But deep inside the body, older instructions may continue running. The leading explanation is the circadian clock, an internal timing system that coordinates sleep, alertness, temperature, hormone release, and other processes across roughly 24 hours. Light normally keeps that system synchronized with Earth's rotation. Inside Mammoth Cave, Kleitman removed that cue. The rhythm remained, but the experiment did not produce a perfect answer. Not everyone adjusts the same way. Later isolation studies found that internal rhythms can drift, stretch, or even separate when normal time signals disappear. Sleep may follow one schedule. Body temperature may follow another. The body does not contain one perfect stopwatch. It contains multiple rhythms constantly trying to stay aligned. And scientists still cannot fully predict why those rhythms respond differently in different people. Mammoth Cave did not stop time for the men who entered it. It proved that time followed them inside, not on a watch, but buried within their bodies. Long before modern explorers mapped Mammoth Cave, people were already moving through its deepest passages. With no electric lights, no maps, only fire, memory, and nerve. Native American communities began entering the cave thousands of years ago. By the early woodland period, between roughly 1000 and 200 BCE, those journeys had become organized mining operations. These were not quick trips near the entrance. Miners traveled more than 19 miles into total darkness. They carried rivercane torches bound with plant fibers, and scraped minerals from the walls using freshwater mussel shells. They collected gypsum, mirabilite, epsomite, and selenite. Some may have been traded, used in ceremonies, or consumed as medicine. Preserved human waste found inside the cave even suggests that some minerals were ingested, including substances powerful enough to act as laxatives. Then the cave preserved the miners themselves. In 1811, workers discovered the naturally mummified body of a woman later called Fawn Hoof. She sat inside a stone crypt, wrapped in decorated deerskins and bark. Around her were beads, bone needles, feather ornaments, and a necklace made from 20 red fawn hooves. Her body had dried until it weighed only 14 pounds. Decades later, another body was found. A child about 9 years old, known as Little Al or Little Alice. The child had died around 2000 BCE, possibly after a fall or violent blow. But the body had been carefully placed on a ledge. Someone had stayed behind. Someone had carried the child there. Then, on June 7, 1935, explorers found the clearest evidence of how dangerous this underground world had been. Deep inside the main cave lay a man now known as Lost John. He was about 45 years old. He had entered the cave to mine selenite around 15 BCE. Then a 6-ton slab of limestone fell across his body. His woven sandals were still on his feet. His mining tools remained nearby. Even the hickory nuts and sunflower seeds inside his stomach had survived. The cave had preserved the final moments of a worker killed nearly 2,000 years earlier. There were no giants, no forbidden bloodline, no hidden civilization beneath Kentucky. The truth was more human and more disturbing. Dry air, stable temperatures, and nitrate-rich sediment had naturally preserved bodies, torches, sandals, food, and tools that should have disappeared centuries ago. But preservation could only reveal so much. Researchers know what some miners collected. They still do not know exactly why every mineral mattered. They can trace roots from torch remains and abandoned tools, but they cannot recover the instructions, ceremonies, warnings, or stories that guided people through miles of darkness. The evidence proves a sophisticated system existed. The knowledge behind it is gone. And after the bodies were discovered, another disturbing story began. Fawn Hoof was displayed for tourists, rented to traveling exhibitions, shown at world's fairs. Around 1900, the Smithsonian removed the remaining tissue from her body to catalogue the skeleton, destroying the preservation that made her extraordinary. Lost John was displayed in a glass case for decades. Only later did modern standards change. The National Park Service removed the bodies from public exhibition and returned them to protected areas inside the cave after consulting with tribal nations. Mammoth Cave did not reveal an unknown species of human. It revealed people whose skill had been underestimated, whose dead had been commercialized, and whose underground world was far more organized than early investigators understood. The cave preserved their bodies, their tools, even their final meals. But after more than 2,000 years, it could not preserve their voices. Mammoth Cave is not one mystery. It is three histories sealed in darkness. A vanished ocean filled with predators, a human body keeping time without sunlight, and ancient miners traveling miles underground with nothing but fire, memory, and nerve. Together, they reveal what makes this cave extraordinary. It does not simply hide the past. It protects what the surface would have destroyed. Shark cartilage, woven sandals, torch remains, food, tools, human bodies. The shocking part is not that legends grew around Mammoth Cave. It is that the verified discoveries are stranger than the legends ever needed to be. Science did not erase the mystery. It gave it names, dates, evidence, and revealed how much still waits beyond the light. Which discovery stayed with you most? The sharks, the experiment without time, or the miners who entered the darkness thousands of years ago? Leave your answer in the comments and subscribe for more hidden history.